Got a minute?
No, not for you. I really have nothing more to say.
What if I told you it's looking more and more likely Ihara-san had a hand in Mikoshiba's death?
Well, it doesn't concern me.
Ihara-san believes Mikoshiba tormented Toshiro-kun so badly that he took his own life. But neither the third-party investigation nor the courts were on his side. So what's the truth here? You know, don't you? What really happened between Mikoshiba and Toshiro-kun? Why won't you tell me the truth?
Why do you keep asking? I said I don't know!
I'm going to the detention center tomorrow to get some answers out of Ihara-san.
What?
I saw where Mikoshiba was murdered. He endured no shortage of cruelty before he died. They tortured him, you know. They broke all his fingers before they slit his throat.
No.
And somehow Ihara-san knew Mikoshiba would be killed on the day he got caught for groping. It's like he did it to prove he had nothing to do with the murder. But maybe that wasn't his real objective at all.
Huh?
I think he wanted to signal that he'd finally avenged his son.
The body belongs to a guy named Hiro Mikoshiba. 4 years ago, this man took my son from me by driving him to commit suicide.
If I'm gonna face him tomorrow, I can't go in without some ammunition. So, 4 years ago, did Mikoshiba bully Toshiro-kun or not? That's all I want to know.
My answer won't change. There's no evidence Mikoshiba-kun did anything wrong.
Are you sure about that? Take a look at this.
That's...
Toshiro Ihara, your student. Imagine that he's listening to what you're saying now. If you can look at him and say Mikoshiba played no part in his death, I'll leave you alone. In fact, you'll never hear a word from me again. So which is it?
"4 years ago, not long after I'd transferred here to teach English. That's when it started. I was trying my best to get acclimated, and I was finally on a first-name basis with everyone. One day, after school, I was out on the roof taking a break, when Toshiro-kun suddenly ran by. I called out to him to ask what was wrong, but he shushed me and kept running. I saw he had a bloody nose. Moments later, Mikoshiba-kun showed up. He was looking for him. I told him I hadn't seen him. Toshiro-kun's face told me everything I needed to know.
So Mikoshiba was bullying him after all.
Yes. Toshiro-kun told me this later on. Whenever he'd leave school with Mikoshiba-kun and his friends, they'd force him to hand over money. At first, they'd try to pass it off as a joke. They said since he lowered the class average on tests, he ought to buy them all drinks as an apology. And Mikoshiba-kun, he was having too much fun with it to stop. He started offering tutoring sessions to Toshiro-kun, only so he and his crew could extract their tuition from him. They'd even break into his house while his mother was at work and take the money she left him for dinner. And if he couldn't pay, they'd beat him up at school or make him grovel in the bathroom.
Didn't anybody see what was really happening?
The teachers either saw nothing or turned a blind eye. Few students knew about it, though. Anyway, I ended up relaying everything Toshiro-kun had told me to those boys' homeroom teacher. Mind you, this teacher had tenure, title, and years of experience under his belt. Do you know what he told me? He said not to cause a commotion because those boys were about to graduate.
Why does that not surprise me?
To be honest, It was hard to paint such an outwardly model student in a negative light. There was also no hard evidence to support Toshiro-kun's story. But someone still should have stepped in to help. If only I'd understood that at the time.
You tried.
The only thing I tried was to keep an eye out for him, making sure he wasn't alone, things like that. But unfortunately, that wasn't good enough. On the first morning of the 3rd trimester, Toshiro-kun tied a towel to his doorknob and hung himself in his room.
And that's when you confronted Mikoshiba, right? You asked him point blank if he'd bullied him.
I did. Mikoshiba-kun pretended to know nothing. He was more careful, shaken even, from then on. In all honesty, when I heard a third-party committee was investigating, I was hoping the truth would come out. Students were asked to fill out an anonymous questionnaire, and many of them wrote down exactly what they saw.
Hold on. Didn't the court end up declaring there was no substantial evidence of bullying? How could they have said that with those questionnaires on hand?